Yeah, I had a great upbringing. Started riding ponies properly from 9 years of age on. Tony the pony was my first one, and then Murphy Brown, who Maxine got going. Point to Pointing is the best grounding you can get. I rode a horse called A Decent Excuse. He won the open lightweight. That was a great day to get my first winner. My father was there, so it was brilliant. I won on a mare called Wilco's Diana in Rackcannon for Eugene, and she was actually my first winner on the track as well. My father was an amateur jockey, William. He was quite successful. He won the Fox Hunters at Cheltenham. My brother Alan is going down the same route. Ridden against him a few times. I decided to turn professional, and yeah, that's where it all kicked off.
Dangan Deschamps and Michael O'Sullivan going to take the last from Diego's waist.
My first winner was for Robert Tyner in Sligo. Growing up all along, hearing stories of Lovely Citizen in '91 and won the Fox Hunters, and my grandfather owned him, and his two sons trained and rode him. We were hearing about it so much, we wanted to do it ourselves, and when Maxine went on and won it then, and it came to pass, so that was brilliant. I came back down to shoot with Maxine, and I got a taste for Cheltenham then. The first race of the meeting, the Supreme, probably is the best atmosphere of them all.
Off the final bend in the Supreme, Marine Nationale hunts down Facile Vega. What a day for Michael O'Sullivan, and Barry Conlett won the Supreme. What a cool ride by Michael O'Sullivan.
The horse is just incredible. Days like this is what I was dreaming of since I was riding ponies when I was 3 and 4 years of age. And my father and my grandmother and my mother and all my family, they've been so supportive of me.
I was on a cloud then after winning the Supreme, and floated around for the day. Went out then to ride Jazzy Matty in the Fred Winter, just to enjoy it really. Kept it simple again, and he won. So that was just the icing on the cake, you know. To be leading rider after the first day at Cheltenham, couldn't believe my luck really.
Well, I'm joined in the studio today by Adele Mulrennan and Luke Harvey, both people who have ridden horses professionally in their lives before. Adele, this is a hugely emotional time and something that you have actually experienced before in this game.
Absolutely, and I think the thing is, Matt, as being a parent to a daughter who rides, a wife to my husband who rides, ultimately it is my worst nightmare what's happened to Michael. Like, every day Paul goes out to the races, it's always in the back of my mind, and having to see a family live in my nightmare is absolutely heartbreaking. It aches my heart completely for them. Sorry, I try not to get too emotional about it, but yeah, it's sad. But unfortunately, the only little piece of mind is the fact that Michael was doing something that he loved to do. It's inside us as riders. I can't explain what feeling it is, Luke. It's something that's deep inside you. It's like you only feel whole when you're with a horse. There's a great saying that we ride to live, we live to ride. That's exactly what it is.
And Luke, in this instance, it sounds almost silly to talk about luck, but effectively this is just so unlucky. A fall in a slightly different way, and Mikey would have been fine, but he just fell the wrong way, and there's nothing you can do about that, whether you're skiing or a motor racing driver or even on a motorway in an accident. If something happens the wrong way, that's just unlucky.
We all know the dangers attached to riding horses or doing any sort of sport like that. It doesn't make things any easier, and understandably, I think it's hit everybody within the whole industry. I was only talking to Gavin Sheehan the other day, and the day after the Mikey unfortunately passed away, he said he was riding out in Lambourne, and he said normally there'd be people cheering, and say, "Oh, morning," and he said the mood was just so sombre. And he said himself, he was schooling that morning, and it made him think. He was going down to a 4-foot fence at 30 miles an hour, and it puts a different perspective on things. It doesn't make things easy, as I said, but yeah, it's just absolutely tragic. A young man in his prime. Yes, it's heart-wrenching. It really is.
It does make riders think. It makes us all think, Adele, but still, it won't stop the jockeys that go out, because at the end of the day, as has already been said, the people who ride horses, they love horses, they love the thrill. That's why they do it. And you're not going to take that away from them. You only have to look at retired jockeys who can barely exist without that adrenaline rush that they get from being on these beautiful animals.
Oh, without a doubt, Matt. I don't think there's any rider who won't be affected by, and you probably would second guess your career for a split second because it's there in front of you just how dangerous it can be. But like I said, there's something inside you, Matt, that just makes you want to ride, and you don't feel whole unless you're riding. So, no, you know, they're going to...
I don't think Mike or any members of his family would want people to second guess that.
No,
they want people because it's in your when it's in your blood. It's in your blood.
Yeah.
You want to do it.
Yeah.
It would be a tragedy if if people did think like that. But yeah, it doesn't make it just it's just a tragic situation. The whole thing.
Well, now we can be joined by Barry Geraghty, of course, former top rider and a fellow who works very closely with the jockeys in Ireland. Barry, welcome to the show. I wish it was under different circumstances. The funeral of Michael O'Sullivan was on Wednesday, and, I mean, just such an outpouring of sadness, but also of joy amongst those that were there, that they had had known Michael O'Sullivan.
Yeah, there was massive crowds. Were there on Tuesday to sympathise with the family, and then at the mass on Wednesday at his burial. Yeah, massive outpouring of grief, but support from the locality, you know, from all his friends, from all the different spheres, be it his local friends in the GAA, his friends through his point-to-point career, his college friends, his friends from the Wareham. It was just, the crowds were massive, but that was a reflection on the person that Michael was. He was just such a, you know, he was a gorgeous person. He was so kind. He was so generous. He was so, you know, everything you'd love about a person. Michael was that. You know, his riding career, he was brilliant. He showed his talent, an amazing talent, but that was also reflected in his personality because he was that kind, sympathetic type of person. So he was the same on a horse as he was with people. And yeah, it's been a really tough week for everyone, not least at all his family, his partner Charlotte, all his housemates, his friends, colleagues, and especially in the Wareham, it's been really, yeah, it's really hit everyone hard.
We're dealing with a jockey here who had a little bit extra. He was a highly intelligent fella, as we all know now, and could speak fluent French. A lot of our viewers in the UK would know Michael from his fantastic ride on Marie Nationale in the Supreme and a double at the Cheltenham Festival that day. For those who don't know the history of this family, just run through it for us.
Yeah, so his dad won the Fox Hunters at the Cheltenham Festival in '91 on a horse called Lovely Citizen, who was trained by his uncle Eugene. It was bred and owned by his grandfather. And the family came on and won that race again in 2020, I think it was, with his cousin Maxine. So they're steeped in point-to-pointing especially, but Eugene is a successful trainer and would have trained a lot of winners. And I rode a good few winners myself through the early part of my career from him too. So they're a great... you know, point-to-point horse racing family, really good people, and are steeped in the, you know, in the history of racing, if you like. You know, they go back for years.
A lot of people watching this, Barry, might say, look, why take the risks? Why do jockeys do it?
Yeah, I suppose you just don't recognise those risks because it's what you do. And if you watch any of the interviews Michael's done over the years, you know, you can feel the passion he has for racing or had for racing, and you know how much he wanted to thrive, and that was his thing. If football's your thing, rugby, whatever it is, but racing was Michael's. And he said, you know, through those interviews, how this is what he wanted to do since he was a kid. And, you know, we've all grown up with those dreams, and you're dreaming of Cheltenham success and Grand Nationals, and it's just what you do, and it's what you love and what you enjoy. And, you know, Michael was constantly looking to find improvement, trying to get on. He had the talent, but he always wanted to make the most of it.
A lot of young jockeys were at the wake this week. Would the message from you to them is, if you can grow up and be like Michael O'Sullivan, you won't have done too bad?
Michael was probably as close to as perfect a role model as you could get. So yes, it would be the answer to that. You know, everything about him, everything he did, his presence, his warmth, his kindness, as I mentioned earlier, he just was such a good person, a brilliant talent. And as I say, he was constantly trying to find that improvement. He had just a lovely way about him, everything about him. But he definitely has a brilliant role model, and yeah, will be really sadly missed by everyone.
Barry, thank you so much for joining us today.
Cheers, Matt. Thank you.
Michael O'Sullivan, who has passed away at the age of 24.